One. And welcome back. We were having a break conversation about The Witcher and what class he is, but
Polls starting in the chat.
which we can talk about that. So when we're building characters and we're talking about multi-class, we have a lot of ideas on why would you multi-class, and it's for either min-maxing or for story reasons or just utility. Like you want to have a bunch of cantrips, right? You want to have message and mage hand and control flames because of reasons and whatever, right? Toll the dead, spare the dying. If you can get your hands on a spare the dying, that's always clutch.
Always, never fails.
But let's talk more about some of the really good combinations. Not 3 multi-classes. We'll just talk about the 2.
2?
So what are some good combos with 2 classes? Bardlock, we know. We don't need to go down that road. And Sorlock, we've kind of talked. Oh, unless you're going to talk about Bardlock.
I was, because my favorite combination, I created a Tiefling Bardlock, who I nicknamed Savvy. His whole name was Savoir Faire. Because I was like, he could, and Savvy talked like this, and he was a cool Southern gentleman who was a Hexblade College of Swords bard. And that combination in and of itself, Hexblade and College of Swords, because of the flourishes and stuff like that, they complement each other really well. And what you can do with the Warlock spells, with Hexblade's Curse, with all of the little nuances, like and it creates a step-by-step process of like how the character plays. But the Hexblade and College of Swords, which you could also switch out with College of Valor, technically. But College of Swords just works really well in narrative flair with the Hexblade. So yeah, that is one of my favorite like dual combos. If not, the other combo, like one of the brightest ones that I've seen, is the Swashbuckler College of Lore bard, because at that point you're a skill monkey who is just like really good with a sword. Like that's the whole thing. It's all about how many skills can you have and how many of them have expertise.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the reason I was trying to not talk about Bardlock is because I've talked about it a lot before because I love them. Nyko is a Bardlock. Nyko / Roland is a Bardlock. He's a College of Eloquence, great old one Bardlock. Let me tell you about doing those unsettling words and getting that negative D8 to the thing and using some of your nasty warlock spells.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's really why Art feeble-minded me, because we had tweaked some things and he's like, oh wow, Nyko's really strong now. I'm like, yeah, he is. And then I get feeble-minded. I'm not bitter. But what are some other good combinations?
I'm a huge fan of Bard Rogue forever. For not just the skill monkey aspect, or if you want to combine being, and especially I think because Swashbuckler sneak attack is such a powerful tool with any combination. But if you combine that with the Bard's ability to get more expertise with the Rogue and a little bit of spell casting, I think a Bard Rogue is what Arcane Trickster could have been if it didn't have the limitations. Is how I feel about it. It's what the Rogue could aspire to be in that domain. But on the same breath, I'm also a huge fan of a Rogue Barbarian. I think it's hyper underrated because people always think about the fact that rogues are dex based and barbarians are strength based, and they lean so hard into being, if I'm a rogue I have to be dex, or if I'm a barbarian I have to be strength. But the flair of finesse and swashbuckling and rage resistance and you could be a swashbuckling barbarian and just go like, all right, let me go reckless, get my advantage, do that, get sneak attack if I need to, and if I don't need that advantage, let me get a sneak attack in there while raging. And I think that's dangerous.
I mean, it is absolutely like one of my favorite, not to bring Critical Role up, but like one of my favorite iterations and favorite like rogue barbarians I've ever seen was played by Allison Jaffe.
Yes, the Owlbear
man. And I mean, I got to be at that one live. It was so great. But like, I mean, I was just like, he starts explaining like what's happening. And I like everyone, like it was kind of funny because like this hush falls over the whole crowd as they figure out, oh my gosh, he's a rogue barbarian. And he just starts dropping the of course, then he had really bad rolls, but it was great. Like just because you can take a character like that, and he's Batman.
Yeah.
Well, he's Owlbearman, but
Yeah.
it was like you can do stuff like that, and it might surprise you. You don't, if you don't go in thinking like going into a barbarian sorcerer. Some of them can be actually really good. Like combinations can just be good if you don't think totally in like you were saying, like I'm a barbarian, I must strength. Well, like when I started out as like my favorite combo is the paladin warlock. It's the one where I had the most fun because you've got all kinds of smites, both eldritch and happy ones that you can drop on people. I was a 6 foot tall black tiefling with a celestial halberd that I could summon at my side, and just she was a strength based to begin with, a strength based hexblade warlock. And then she ended up as a paladin, and it was just like, as a player, like you're also like this weird semi-holy avenger just coming in with like lunar wrath, and it's just really fun and flavorful and great, is because I didn't go in going I have to be super fast. I was like, no, she's just gonna be really heavy hitting. She's not fast. That's not the point.
That's why I also appreciate ranger rogues.
Yeah.
I think they're
Absolutely.
underrated. I think people forget because of how similar they are. They don't want to merge them, but the idea of a ranger rogue being ranged with your sneak plus spells, and it's beautiful flavor wise because it kind of fits together. I think they're like adjacent classes in their own right, and they stack very well.
Well, not only
Rangers get
that-
a lot of hate.
Yeah, then I was just about to say, I was like, Rangers get a lot of
Used
flack,
to.
but mostly.
Natasha.
Well, even still,
Yeah.
people are still giving it the 1-2. My thing is that I find that in the classic iteration of Ranger, that is narrative class. That in its whole essence is like it's built to be narrative based on favorite enemy, favorite terrain, things like that. The way that you play that class, it's not for min-maxers. It's not designed to be the class you take to do the most damage. I have had countless arguments with min-maxers and power gamers about why the Ranger class is so good. Oh, well, you wouldn't like, I can out-ranger a Ranger, by the time I hit X level with my fighter. I'm like, great, cool. But like, I'm happier playing my Ranger. Like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, it's just the narrative of the Ranger and the way that it's worded and the way that it allows you the flexibility to create the Ranger that you want. There's so much versatility in the narrative flair of a Ranger.
That's because Rangers were designed as the narrative fluff, but statistically lacking. And I think that's the thing. There's not a lot of statistical benefits. It's a lot of, and I think if you have a DM that isn't open to the idea of a big narrative, a Ranger will fall flat, which I think is why a Ranger multiclass is great, because Ranger has such great benefits that can splash very well other things.
But here's the thing. A Ranger is only as good as the player. If you're a bad player, then you suck as a Ranger. I play a Hunter on World of Warcraft, and I will beat the shit out of anybody who fights me because Hunters are amazing. Yeah, Taryn, I'll even beat you. It's fine. You play a Hunter too, so shut your face.
Go Horde.
Exactly. I'm still very angry and bitter that I'm playing Alliance with them, but that's a totally separate. It's like a new game, so it's kind of fun that I'm doing something different. But anyway, and I'm playing a Demon Hunter, which is pretty much Horde anyway. But the point is yes, you have abilities and things, but guess what? Especially with Tasha's, there are feats that will make that Ranger fucking nasty.
Oh,
nasty.
Hashtag Tenic.
There's so many. Yep. And again, like you said, if you just splash with just a couple things, whether it's rogues, you can get a little sneak attack, which is a little extra, great. You do a lot of levels in rogue, you get more. Like, what is it, like 6 or 7 levels in rogue, and you get 6 d6 on top of Hunter's Mark, on top of other things. Like, that's a lot of d6, guys. And it's... Yes. So there's a lot of things that you can do that really again, I agree. Like it's one of the most underrated classes. Everyone has hate for it for whatever reason, and it's just about how you play. Like
And honestly, I get the same. Like I get a lot of people who give the same, like a lot of the same hate for Ranger, for monks, and it's always been weird to me because monks get so much hate in general.
Yeah.
But like also like people like always ignore the multi-class power of a monk.
Yeah.
Just because you can be a monk, and if you splash just the right thing, monks are ridiculous.
What would you say a great thing to multi-class with a monk would be?
I'm not telling Jinx.
Rogue.
I thought. But
Here's the
have,
point.
6 of
Like,
those. Sorry.
Yeah.
if you're gonna dab into monk or rogue, you only have to dab in enough to get evasion, and then you're fucking ridiculous.
And
I
that-
dropped
For the
200
most
hit points on Tristan yesterday,
And not
he
well,
didn't
here's-
take a piece of it.
Here's the thing. There's no point in taking getting that level up to it's uncanny dodge is what you want,
Yeah.
not evasion, because evasion comes on both the monk and the rogue.
Sure.
Yes.
Technically speaking.
Yes.
And Taryn, if you want my true unadulterated advice as to what to multi-class your monk into if you already have enough rogues, the right answer is ranger or cleric.
So I was thinking cleric too, because cleric provides you the
Of course,
ability.
you were thinking cleric, god complex.
I mean,
Is your
I
holy
already
water,
have your
is your
patron.
holy water spiked? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I do agree because with a cleric, as a monk, you get casting,
Mhm.
and the support casting of just I don't know, spare the dying and other things. You can be a monk as you need and heal as you want, protect as you need to, and if you need to switch up your style to get a little more into cleric, you can. But the benefit of the casting and the few small features, especially if you get just channel divinity, you're like set. If worst case scenario, I have this clutch, I have this armor if I want to wear it, depending on the domain you choose. There's so much flexibility in being a monk cleric that I think is also underrated. But that's also because clerics have so many domains to choose from that
Correct.
it becomes an overwhelming option.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now. Like, I mean, and the alternative, and Wolf's Coinage in the chat has been really great about noting this. The other option is, in all accounts, fighter. Like,
You can never go wrong with fighter.
you can never go, like, 2 levels of fighter, boom, action surge and second wind. Like, what's not to like about that? Like, at
Mine
the end
with
of,
key points and ouch. Well, like honestly, I'm the person of like in Jinx's case specifically, like I have not personally ruled out multi-classing with her. I'm just kind of playing and like it's crazy. It's almost like we don't have a healer. I had of course like I had thought previously fighter. I had thought possibly cleric, but like in my mind it's like we'll see what like honestly, I'm just kind of exploring like Charles Gall, and if something comes up and it does pique Jinx's interest, one way or another, like I might pursue it. I mean, like Jinx has been pretty like that's kind of the interesting thing is Jinx has been pretty done with deities for a little while,
Mhm.
so I don't know.
I mean,
but,
I don't know about how
I've never-
done.
Yeah. Okay. But
can you
I
stop flirting? Like, Jesus, both of you.
But I am like kind of like I am that person of like sometimes
Yeah.
I don't always start a character thinking I'm going to multi-class. It's just as I play, even it kind of makes sense. Like with my Warlock Paladin, I wasn't going, this is gonna be where this is. It was like, no, this feels right. Like right here, like I think she would dive in here and completely wholeheartedly declare herself to Saloon, and this is what we're gonna do. Like with Jinx, I don't know.
Well, I mean, and this is deviating from our topic a little bit, but if I may just do this really quickly, perhaps you can talk to Diane about the current situation with Jinx, and maybe there's something that came out in Tasha's that says you can switch your subclass if you wanted to, and maybe you could become a Way of Mercy monk, which does have the healing and the harm with your key points. So maybe that's
Fuck
a
off.
thing.
Diane is watching. Throwing it up. So, on that awkward, uncomfortable note, let's talk about fantasy birth control. No, so
Grandma Root Seed, you're welcome. So far hasn't failed.
you don't know. It's only been a day. So
I'm so
Oh
she
my
doesn't have us
God.
roll for that.
you know what's really funny is GW
Birth
when
control.
his baby mama got pregnant. He's like, it's only been like 3 months. I'm like, Furbolgs, it's canon now. Get over it. Anyway, so talking about multi-class. So we've talked about a lot of fun combinations. What are some things that you all have wanted to multi-class but haven't been able to playtest yet?
Ooh.
Wizard Artificer is one.
Oh, I've done it. It's amazing. Your wizard will
I-
have an AC of 19. It's
That's
ridiculous.
literally the reason. Because
it.
I built casual as an Artificer bard just for the hell of it, but then I realized as I was reading Artificer in more and more detail, I'm like, an Artificer Wizard has the amazing casting, but you can do the armor and still use a little bit of artificer to build stuff. I'm just saying it's almost designed too perfectly.
I don't even remember what game I was playing. It was one of the ones we streamed when someone else did when I actually got to play something. I played that, and he was amazing. I barely took any damage, and it was ridiculous.
And on the other side, also Artificer Rogue is one I've also considered. I haven't figured out what subclass Rogue specifically.
What's Rogue spellcasting?
If you're an Arcane Trickster, is Int.
So
it already lines up.
I like it.
And I think it would be, I don't know, I think the idea of being able to steal and then craft stuff and then do stuff with that to supplement things and boost your thievery or boost your rogue, however you do it, but also having a little bit of casting with, I don't know, a 19 AC, cough, cough. If you don't want to make a Dex rogue, which I've seen, and I think that is what makes it amazing, because you can be a heavy Int rogue artificer.
Yeah.
I want to do that too.
And the artificer subclasses, like I like the distinction between each of them too. You could probably play with some fun combos in that. And I'm thinking like an artillerist, like artificer that's sneaking and having. Well, okay, could you imagine Cayenne?
Yeah, cayenne peppers.
With her little artillerist like coming around to the other side, like I'm just
everything.
like all of these like scissor attacks, and I'm just like yes.
That might have been one of my favorite characters that April has played.
I love her,
ridiculous.
and she needs to come back.
I just know it's spin-off with Cayenne Peppers and Tenic. I'm just saying.
I mean, I need Cayenne. I need
Hanate.
Yes, and I'm kind of infatuated with like the evil Kenku. I want to see the adventures of like vengeful paladin Kenku throughout the realm of Ukador, please.
Let's talk about the evil Kenku for a second. I know we're supposed to talk about multiclassing, but I really want to do an evil campaign, guys. Like I really want to do one.
Okay.
I don't play evil characters though.
Oh no, just angst.
They're just secretly angry.
Just maximum angst, but not evil, right? It's
difference. There's a difference. There's a fine line.
Yeah, and she's on the edge of it. Get it? Ha! I'm so punny.
Got it. Damn it. Yes, solo. Yeah. Evil campaign's a good idea. Maybe somebody else can run that.
I would love to play. Oh my god. I would. You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. Here's the bomb. I will let any DM in the world of Ukador if they do an evil campaign. It will be Ukador canon.
Cough. My hat thrown in. Cough.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna kick that aside and throw in my top.
Oh, I'm gonna put that top on my head and put my hat back in.
I'm just gonna jump in the hat.
Rabbit.
It looks like him. It looks like we have a.
Oh my god.
We have a spot for one person.
That's as evil as it gets. Just,
it's one of my favorite scenes, if anything. We have one spot.
Can I be a multi-classed evil bunny that accompanies the evil paladin and we go on cartoon evil adventures together?
Of course you can. When I'm the DM, anything goes.
Stop trying to pitch against me right now.
Sweetheart, it's over for you. I'm sorry.
You cannot beat the casual. The voice will always be the superior option.
I just want to be evil Bugs Bunny with an evil Kenku and we're fine.
So my multi-class that I've never had the chance to do and would like the chance to do at some point is actually a rogue paladin.
Oh my god! I have done it before.
It's not often done. It's not often done because it's the requirement for finesse weapons that rogue has in order to do the sneak attack damage that makes paladins difficult to kind of pair them with because you can't really use ranged weapons with the smite spells and divine smite specifically. So I've been thinking about perhaps doing an inquisitive or mastermind rogue with a paladin oath of the watchers, which is the new one that's about like aberrations. I think that would be a really cool multi-class to play.
Well, here's an interesting thing. It needs a lot of my stuff is surface level and everything else, but I created Oath of Souls, which was for Cole in Origins, and it is a dex-based paladin class.
Interesting.
Because
you can play.
You're supposed to be. Dex. It's supposed to just be different. But what was that?
Right.
I mean, you can always play a paladin dex. You don't, and that's the same thing I want to just say. Like people treat paladins the same way they treat barbarians. They're like, you have to be strength
based. Yeah.
You don't. I feel like there's something in there that says with strength though.
Well, there is with barbarians to get.
No. With paladins.
It's technically strength, dex, or charisma has to meet 13. I think it is.
That's the only
It-
real thing.
Well, yeah. So the flavor thing I did with Oath of Souls was he was able to just use charisma as his
Right.
melee attack.
Oh, you made
Right.
a warlock.
Yeah, so you made him a
That's
warlock.
Yeah, that's
Kind
all
of.
I heard right now.
That's why I love Hexblade. I
Yeah.
love splashing everything with Hexblade because Hexblade.
So what
It's the
you're
name.
saying is-
That's all. That's all she likes. Is the goddamn name.
Right?
Well, no, it's you can. There are so many benefits. Like just
Yeah.
Pact of the Blade and Hexblade in general. Either one of
Yes,
those.
you're not wrong. Absolutely.
If you're a melee fighter and you're using dex based, like I mean, you can really do it with anything, but especially if you're going dex based, like you can do some really great, fun, broken, just constant. Like you're coming in and you're just like, I mean, combining it with rogue or something like
Yeah.
that. You're coming in and you are dealing some seriously friggin' oomphy damage. If you are a person that is impatient and really likes to smack people in the face for a lot of damage, you will be very, very satisfied with the ways that you can manipulate Hexblade.
Just be a Hexblade, and have your dream character and be.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
We need more games, guys. I want to play more characters.
Okay.
Wolf has
All right.
a good question. There's homebrew out there for the class Idolist.
Idolist.
Yeah,
Idolist.
Yeah. Do you guys know anything about
No, I've never read this one before. And if Wolf, if you could throw that into the general chat, if you find the actual homebrew somewhere, by all means throw it up there. But
that? It's in the DM's guild.
yeah, the situation with that, I actually, this is why I don't like your idea of barbarians with magic. I did a consultation of a playtest supplement pack that actually had something like this, but as a warlock specifically, where it was, I think it was called the Pact of the Ghost Rider. And you would, like, the whole thing was based on the concept that you would summon you would use a lesser version of like Find Steed, and that was like the core crux of what this warlock was about, was like being able to summon the horse and ride the horse, and you got benefits while you were mounted, like to your spell casting and things like that. So it's possible. There are ways you could do that. To even right now, the technically the Cavalier from as the fighter subclass,
Yeah.
you pair that with something that has like a spiritual background. Like Paladin or something like that does get Find Steed. And you're getting that, but you're doing it in a multi-class instead of like a subclass.
Yeah, I'm looking at Idolist just to get an idea. I think that's the benefit of. Well, I wanted to say the biggest benefit of multi-class is if there's something that a class can't do, go find a class that can.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, whatever it is, like I think a big appeal of the multi-class is like, look, this paladin can do this, but I want to be able to throw my shield and sword down and just punch you, monk it up, do it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I'm a barbarian that wants to be a little more dexterous, let's do it. Let me get some key points and let me just start punching you with special combos and feel like I'm Bruce Lee or I'm walking around like Broly from DBZ just because I want to.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Cough,
I mean,
cough.
and that's one of the best reasons to go into multi-classing anyways, is because like maybe the ranger doesn't do enough for you, and you do want to take just a little bit of something else to give you that little bit of extra oomph that you're looking for. Go for it. I mean, I wanted to be a barbarian that can sometimes throw, just a big bolt of lightning and then get pissed off and go into rage mode and then hit you 10 times. Like,
Why not?
because I wanted to be able to call lightning, like I wanted to be able to hit somebody with lightning if I wanted to, if I wasn't raging. Like I wanted to have that option.
Yeah.
So I
And
did.
and if you can't find two classes that multi-class well together or give you the thing that you want to do, hit up Dragon Rock RPG Design. We will design you a subclass that does the exact thing that you're looking for. I will combine two classes, make a subclass, and make it yours. So please come find us, come talk to us. We do things very well balanced.
Do it.
I agree.
Did they just drop a plug like that?
Would I?
Do you have a plug to drop?
That was such a shameless plug, and I'm going to endorse that plug because they are doing great stuff. Because I'm a multi-class addict, and Dragon Rock RPG has also been doing great stuff helping me. So I guess shameless plug with a shameless endorsement.
There it is. It took me way too long to get that link. So we talk about multi-classing in the basics. We talked about some of our favorite ones. We talked about some things that we want to do. What are some multi-classes that people do that they shouldn't?
All classes at once.
Yeah, that to start. The thing is, you have classes that have like core primary abilities for a reason, and when you start deviating from that, it starts becoming kind of janky. Like that's the reason why I would never tell anybody to take a wizard and then multi-class into monk. Like it's just that one in and of itself is like the one, like even it as it came out of my mouth, I felt myself internally cringe. But like there are just certain classes that don't blend well together, and I think using the core abilities is a really good way to guide yourself.
Yeah.
I think so. Yep.
Well, and it can be the number of, I was going to say, and sometimes it's not necessarily the classes you combine, but the number of levels you take in them can be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Maybe splashing Warlock is a good idea, but why did you keep going at a certain point? Like, then you really are costing yourself other abilities, or...
I mean, if you're doing it for story reasons, and at that point you are now
different.
a Warlock, that's different. But if you're doing it because you think you're min-maxing...
Like, story-wise, I think all combinations on the table, obviously. If you want to do it story-wise and you can justify it and you feel it and it speaks to your soul, by all means. But like how I feel mechanically, like hard casters or full casters mixed with like focused martial and trying to blending evenly, I think is the problem.
Yeah.
You should always have I think anyone who tries to be like, I'm going to be like a barbarian mixed with a paladin, they're like, don't do like, I'm going to do both. Be like, I'm going to be a barbarian that does a little of this, or a paladin that does a little of this, a warlock that does a little of this. Even if you want to go like 6 levels in something, have your main class focus on that and something that supplements it. So like picking something that's specifically bad is hard because it's just a matter of like, I think it's just, if you try to go down the middle of the road and be both, that's just not possible. That just isn't functional.
Yeah, it's impossible to do 10 levels of anything and 10 levels of something else and have it actually function.
No, because
you're missing out on some serious things. Like you want
key features
12 or 14 at least levels and something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the best thing is like typically if you want to have at least, I feel how my ratio typically is, if I do 2 classes, I want to go at least to 12 in 1. At least is how I typically feel if it's only 2 classes.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that, you start getting into a weird blend that just doesn't sit right because you haven't reached, I don't know, either the ability score, the feat that you specifically need. Like a lot of them hit at about 11 is like something that's important, and then 12 caps it off, and then the splash of something else.
Yeah, losing an ability score is heavy, especially if you do it poorly, you lose 2. Yeah. So like,
yeah, 2.
I mean, especially if you're gonna go the feat route, like, because how much time we got left? Yeah, we got 15 minutes. So here, what's the big difference? I mean, I know what the difference is because I like evocations, but the big difference with taking 2 levels in Warlock or just taking Magic Initiate to get
the
Eldritch Blast,
Eldritch Blast,
and Eldritch Shield, which is pretty dope. So like, other than story flavor and everything else, because you can kind of get what you like if that's what you want. Is just a couple of those spells.
Honestly, that is one of the good points because honestly, I think it's a matter of like, you do that because you need the feat for something else. But if you really are just like, I don't need the ability score increase and I don't care what feat I have, then just kind of do the feat to get what you want out of a class versus wasting an entire feature.
Right.
Like you're already losing a feature. If you can just literally take a feature to do it.
Yeah, which is like the same argument that I made earlier about my cleric who got Meta Magic Adept. It wouldn't have made sense for me to go into sorcerer at all because it would have been too far of a dip, but it gives me a little bit of flavor to do the things that sorcerer does.
Wasn't there a new feat that lets you? Fuck, I can't remember what it was. That lets you take stuff from Warlock, specifically.
Technically, Eldritch Adept gives you the ability to take an Eldritch Invocation, as long as it does not require a prerequisite. So technically speaking, most Eldritch Invocations require you to have a specific number of levels in Warlock or be of a specific pact of Warlock. So I will tell you, because I had this conversation with Lindsay when she was working on Pen for the arena yesterday, that there are 2 invocations you can technically take with Eldritch Adept, which is the Fiendish Vigor, which gives you false life for free at cast at first level, or the Armor of Shadows, which gives you mage armor for free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are the 2 that really work.
I too also looked at those.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Devil's Sight too, but
I'm a big fan of Eldritch Invocations, which is still a shocker to everybody, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow.
I think the first word was the key there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's just like there's a lot of flavor that you add yourself. Like Devil's Fight, for example. Like if one of your party has darkness,
Doesn't matter.
You're a monster. Like you darkness the enemy and you just go in there and just go ham on them, right? Like
I totally would never take advantage of that spell ever.
Right.
I would say I do feel that when it comes to multiclassing is the awareness of some people kind of forget about the awareness of feats, and they're so focused on oh, this class has this feature, and it's but what reason do you want that feature, and is there a feat that can do it? Because as an example, Rex right now has proficiency in every skill because the way I built multiclassing. Technically, I could have just kept picking the skilled feat and just called it a day versus trying to do multiple classes. But then again, I wanted multiple features because I wanted to be extra. But that's the difference. The line between what Rex could be and what he is I could choose a bunch of feats to get all the skills or do different classes to get the skills. Yeah. But getting the classes to get the skills also gave me the class features, and that's the difference. I didn't want just the ability stuff. I also wanted some of the features that these classes give for circumstances and extra spells that I can use here or there, because why not? And that's the biggest difference there, because just by picking, I'm four different classes, so by default, I at most can be level 17 in any one of them. And that's just because where we're at now, and that is going to change. But that's the idea. And because I have to do more classes in a certain one, I'm losing more and more ASIs that I could have done. So it has to just balance. If a feat can do it, don't pick a class.
Yeah. So with our final minutes, any final words about our viewers out there who are thinking about multiclassing?
Do it.
I mean, do it. I mean, and do it for multiple reasons. I mean, if you're somebody going into a new campaign and you know that I've started one character where I knew I wanted to multi-class, so I kind of in my head had a roadmap and I made it work. And I've had a character where I really didn't know and it just kind of fell into my lap and it worked perfectly. It's fun.
Yeah.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot, but also if anybody shames you for wanting to try it, tell them to shove it. Have fun. If it's your character.
Yeah.
Do you, bro?
Absolutely. So where can people find you, Taryn?
They can find me at Valrook on Instagram. That's the only social media I really care about because I can look at pictures. You can also watch me shortly as a drunken cat on Let's Go on Golf.
All right.
So,
Rene, what are your last thoughts?
Last thoughts. Build out a character. You don't have to play it. You just think about a combination that you're interested in. Put it together on D&D Beyond or on a piece of paper that you have lying around. Just build it. You don't have to commit to something if you're not fully on board with it. So you could just kind of play around with it and look at how it performs and then think about whether or not you're going to have fun with it. Because that's the point of D&D. It's all about fun.
What? No one told. Wow, I've been doing D&D so wrong.
Me too.
Anyway,
everyone's done.
After that minor diatribe, I've been Rene. You can find me at Dragon Rock RPG Design on Instagram, Dragon Rock RPG on Facebook and Twitter. Hit us up if you have any interesting multi-class ideas that you didn't hear today in this session, and also reach out if you are interested in what we're doing and the things that we're creating or things that we could create for you. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. And Jordan.
My final thoughts. I want to piggyback on the two thoughts. Don't be afraid to fail. Like, build it, have fun, and when you make these classes, just like it's for fun, but be okay with it not working the way you thought it would, because that's the whole point of doing this, is to have fun. So if it doesn't work, now you know for a fact. Don't make 4 different classes for the sake of ability scores or skills, because you'll suck in fighting in Xiaogal. But I am a multi-class. I am casual in Campbell, so you can find me at casual_Campbell. Oh, that beautiful line. And you can also find me shortly in Legend Xiaogal, as I'm doing Rexilius.
Yes,
Solid.
thank you. And I don't consider it failing. I mean, Eldritch 4 beams of Eldritch Blast isn't that bad.
I mean, worst case, and that's all I get. That's at least I have.
If you're in a normal game and not a solo game where people get beefed up weapons, 4 beams of Eldritch Blast is actually pretty good.
Rex in Ukador is a death sentence.
Yeah.
Just ugh.
My final thoughts is again triple piggybacking is play what you want to play. You're having fun. Your DM isn't going to plan a bunch of stuff because it's not going to go the way they think it is. So you make a character that doesn't go the way you want it to go. It's fine. That's D&D. You make your character on D&D Beyond, copy them, make them level 20, and then have fun. Play around with it, check different combinations, pull up 2 different screens and on D&D Beyond character sheets and see what they get at 17 and 3 and like try to match it. Use sites like RPG Bot. It talks about character optimization and literally breaks down the good and color codes it for like what's good, bad, and ugly. And you can find me at Jordan is raising his hand.
I just wanted to add my final. It's actually a better final thought than my last one.
Okay.
Please talk with your DM. Yeah. Whenever you're doing this, if you're in it, talk with your DM. They will help you. They will understand, and I think together you'll have a better idea on what you want. That's what has missed the entire time. But talk with your DM.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And if they're not open to what you're doing and they don't want to make you a cool item or let you have a cool item, then maybe it's not the DM you want. You know, like I'm from the world of always saying yes. Rene knows this.
Very well.
You ask me like, hey, you know, I was kind of thinking this, and this. I want to do this. Go for it. Like same thing with multiclassing. Like I built an entire class for Lizzie because she was like, hey, I kind of want to do this, and I was like, let's do this. And we put our heads together and we made Life Forge. We made an entire class, which is a multi-class, a multiracial class, put together into one thing. So like, you do it to have fun. Like that's what we're doing this stuff for. I am DM Chris Solo. You can find me at DM Chris Solo on all the things. I stream sometimes on that, but I'm in Fabled all the time. Currently editing the prom episodes and stuff. So. Without further ado, we're going to get ready to bounce. I'm going to stop the stream and then start it back up really quickly. Go ahead and enter raffle in the chat for our between show video game giveaway. We'll start the timer. We'll be in chat, answer any of the questions you guys have. Just stay nerdy, have fun, do all the things. Come back for Shao Gall in 30 minutes, and we'll see you guys next time.
We're raiding Fabled 42.